y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Smart Ag Today. I'm Julia Gilliam. In today's episode, we are talking about yield to the data, how precision agriculture is getting smarter. This is a part of my ALEC 640 Smart Agriculture podcast series where we break down big ag technologies into plain English. No engineering degree required. Today, we're zooming in on one of the most important pieces of precision agriculture, yield monitoring. We'll talk about what it is, how it's used, who uses it, and why it matters for farmers, insurance, policy, and the future of AI-driven agriculture. All right, let's dig in. Yield monitoring is the process of measuring how much crop is being produced in real time as the combine moves across the field. Think of it like a Fitbit, but for crops. Instead of tracking your steps, it's tracking bushels per acre, moisture content, GPS coordinates, and how the yield changes across every part of the field. It's like the combine is saying, hey, buddy, this corner of the field is doing great, but over here, it might need some love. Yield monitoring answers big questions. Where did the crop thrive? Where did it struggle? What caused differences? Soil, weather, fertility, or was it something else? Modern yield monitors use sensors, weight flow measurements, GPS, moisture sensors, and machine learning calibration. Some systems even auto-calibrate, a blessing for anyone who has ever tried to calibrate a machine at 11 p.m. with a flashlight in their mouth. In precision ag, data isn't just nice to have, it's fuel for decision making. Yield monitoring is the global standard because it tells growers what worked and what didn't. Yield data is used for seeding prescriptions, irrigation management, hybrid/variety selection, economic analysis, insurance reporting, sustainability metrics, and long-term modeling. And speaking of modeling, yield monitoring plays a huge role in AI-based prediction tools like CY-Bench, a data discussed in Texas A&M's AI research initiatives. These tools take yield data, weather, soil moisture, and remote sensing indicators and train AI models to forecast yields across 38 countries for maize and 29 countries for wheat. That's right, your combine isn't just harvesting grain, it's harvesting data for global food security. You might be thinking, okay, this is cool, but who actually uses this? The answer, it's pretty much everyone in the ag supply chain. Growers use this to make better decisions field by field, adjust inputs, select hybrids, and optimize their ROI. I use it as a crop insurance admin for accurate acreage and yield maps. We use this to reduce disputes, improve claim accuracy, and provide better risk management guidance. Researchers will use this to build models like AgML and CY-Bench, improve climate resilience, identify trends, and extension and educators will use this to train producers, translate complex tech into actionable knowledge, and build adoption capacity. Lastly, policymakers will use this to evaluate food security, predict supply chain outcomes. So yes, yield monitoring data might come from a farmer's combine, but it gets used nationwide and globally. Okay, buckle up. It's time to geek out. Yield monitoring systems include mass flow sensors, optical sensors, grain moisture sensors, GPS receivers, impact plates, and advanced software platforms. These systems can take readings multiple times per second, giving an extremely detailed picture of yield variability. But here's where it gets futuristic. Texas A&M is using AI remote sensing, UAVs, and digital twins to push yield forecasting even further. With tools like UAVs capturing crop stress, digital twins stimulating growth, AgML CY-Bench training AI models, and automated phenotyping greenhouses, we're entering an era where yield isn't just measured, it's predicted, optimized, and simulated. Here's a quick clip that gives a great visual and an overview of how yield monitors work in the field.
So this is where Copilot is going to be applied. Field monitor is probably one of the earliest forms of ag technology that came along. It actually came along before we had GPS. I would say first yield monitors probably started appearing somewhere in the early 90s or so. They were pretty primitive, but they've come a long way since then. And what a yield monitor does, you've got one equipped on your harvest machine, and it continuously monitors what the yield is as you're going across the field, and match it out so you know what each area of the field is yielding. So also, like for instance, on a combine, a yield monitor consists of basically two pieces of hardware. It consists of a mass flow sensor on the grain elevator, and it also consists of a moisture sensor. The moisture sensor, as grain is going up the elevator, the moisture sensor takes a small sample of grain continuously and measures the moisture of it. The mass flow sensor is located at the top of the elevator head, where grain is coming up in the tank. The elevator consists of a paddle chain inside of the tube, and as it's coming to the top of the elevator head, that paddle chain throws the grain into an impact sensor, and that's how the impact sensor measures the amount of force applied. That's how it measures the grain flow. The mass flow sensor measures grain flow in pounds per second. So, a bushel of corn is 60 pounds. We know how fast we're going, so we know how many. Well, we know the amount of ground being harvested per second. So then it's just a different conversion to figure out bushels per acre. So as you can see right here on the monitor, here's our yield. It's our instantaneous yield reading. That's how many bushels per acre that we're yielding in the spot. And as you can see, it's highly variable. Highly variable. We just went from 150 to almost 250 per acre. So if you're thinking about
Pretty cool, right? Yield monitors are basically the unsung superheroes of harvest. No capes, just a lot of sensors. That video really shows how much information your combine gathers in just a few seconds. But the real story starts after the harvest. Now that we've seen how yield monitors collect all the data, let's talk about what we do with it. This is where precision ag really earned its name, turning raw numbers into smarter decisions, better planning, and even powering the AI tools shaping the future of agriculture. So let's dive into how all that data actually transforms the farmers, insurance, and the researchers' work. So we've talked a lot about technology adoption, change management, and many other models for organizational change. So how does this connect to yield monitoring? Simple. Yield monitoring adoption requires change in leadership. Owners must support tech investments. It requires change in work unit climate. Employees must try and use the technology. This is where I see a lot of struggle with, especially with the older generation farmers. They don't want to use all this new technology. One, they don't have time to learn it, or they don't want to learn it, or two, it's just too expensive for them. Systems, equipment calibration, and data organization, that all must change. And lastly, skills and knowledge. These farmers need training on interpretation and use. According to Burke and Litwin, technology adoption only lasts when the external environment, leadership, and organizational culture support it. Translation, you can't just bolt a yield monitor onto a combine and expect magic. This isn't a Disney movie. All right, let's talk real world. I have a few examples that show how precision ag can work. The first example is a farmer noticed a 3-acre patch always yielded terribly. With yield maps, they learned it wasn't soil. It was compaction from grain cart traffic. The easy fix, reroute wagons, Result, extra 18 bushels per acre. This last example is something in my field for insurance. Accurate yield maps helped settle a claim where a drought hit only part of one field. Instead of arguing block yield averages, the map showed exactly where losses occurred. So it was a quick, fair, and accurate fix with precision ag. All right, so the future is wild and it's closer than we think. Trends include AI-driven yield prediction models, hands-free data streaming to insurance companies, satellite-calibrated yield estimates, field-level digital twins for scenario testing, and predictive risk management for all. Imagine your combine saying, hey, in 12 feet, your yield will drop by 14%. Do you want to apply a management suggestion? Or for your insurance software updating acreage without paperwork? Yes, the future can be paperwork free. Dare to dream. All right, to wrap up, here's a quick version. Yield monitoring shows how crops perform across every inch of a field. It drives better decisions, more profit, and a smarter input use. Everyone uses the data: farmers, insurance researchers, and policymakers. AI, drones, and models like CY Bench are pushing yield forecasting to the next level. ALEX 640 has shown us that adopting this technologies require organizational change, not just new gadgets. And that's why yield monitoring isn't just a tool, it's a transformation. Thanks for turning into Smart Ag today. If you learned something new or now you want to buy a yield monitor, I've done my job. Catch y'all next time.